Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise so you can have the information you need to make an informed decision. Today we're going to dive into a lot of positive news and information about Hedera. But unfortunately, I've got some negative news I got to bring to your attention. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because some people think it's extremely serious and some people don't. But I'm just going to lay it out briefly for you so you'll understand what you need to know, and I'll let you decide what you want to do with that information. I will give you my thoughts, but stay with me because we're going to talk about the negative real quick. Then we're going to get into all the positive information I want to share, and then we'll take a look at the chart at the end to see if Hbar has pulled back and if it's given us even a better buying opportunity to stack some Hbar. Now, let's get into it. As you can see on the screen, that's a Hbar logo and it says, sorry, we're closed. I tell you, they got ripped a new one in Twitter today. But basically, here's what happened. The attackers attacked the smart contract service code. They went straight through the liquidity pools and onto multiple DEX like Uniswap. Now, as the tokens progressed and the attack progressed through the Hashport bridge, the bridge operators detected it, the activity, and they disabled the system and they shut everything down. Now, from my understanding, they did do some damage. How the foundation and Hedera's ecosystem handles that I don't know. My personal belief is that they'll be very, very fair, and if someone was harmed, I have 100% confidence they'll make it right. Now, as it sits now, no one needs to rush and get their money or sell their tokens. Nothing is going to happen from here on out. Everything is secure. And they have already set up a portal that you can go in and see all the activity that went on and all the activity that's going on. And that's a little bit over my pay grade. I wouldn't understand if I knew what I was looking at anyway. Now, I want to share this with you really quick, and hopefully it'll make you feel better for whatever it's worth. Now, I don't know this person, but it's called the Hbar of Wall Street. Now, just to be upfront, I don't like it when people put like names of projects in their title because most of them spin and they're very biased, so I don't like that. Now, if they happen to be a developer or something, I'll, basically consider that, and I like that type of information. So I don't know if this is a developer or someone that absolutely knows what they're talking about, but I do want to share the comment, and I hope it's a true statement. But he basically says what people don't understand is that the main net is still running and recording transactions in the background. The attack is on external. It was external, not internal. And he said that was very common on other chains. I don't care about that. I only care about Hbar. Because quite frankly, guys, I did a video like 2 weeks ago and I was really proud of Hbar for doing 5 billion transactions and never having an issue. So that's kind of a bummer. But here's my thought process. And like I said, that's the information. Do with it as you will. Some people think it's really serious. On Twitter, they were calling us, they were saying that Hbar is just like Solana, which I don't think that's fair any way, shape, or form. But they were, throwing out we should have been using XRP Ledger and we should have been using RateX, all kinds of crazy stuff. But my take is I think it's just going to make Hbar stronger. And guys, we are so early, and these hackers, they know what they're doing, and they always find the weakness at the bridges, it seems. And that's just going to make people figure out how to fix all this because we are so early in Web3 and almost every project has been attacked, and it's not going to stop probably for a long time. But overall, personally, I think it'll make Hbar stronger. And trust me, I will still be stacking this project. Now, let's get into some good news. And guys, I got 4 or 5 different things I want to share with you that's all positive. Now, WePay is a mini little powerhouse that's growing in the Caribbean. Now, in their neck of the woods, there is 17 nation islands. They're basically different countries. They all have their own central bank. They all have their own banking ecosystem. And it makes it really hard for people and businesses in that part of the world to settle payments. And everything's a cross-border payment, even though it's across the pond, so to speak. And so what they did is they got together with Hedera and they tied all those banking systems and all those governments together, and they are doing cross-border payments on Hedera with a stable coin. So that's pretty positive, seeing Hedera solve real-world problems. Now, they've been testing their system for 6 months and now they're live. So that's pretty bullish news, and it shows that to me, it shows that once the world sees that and how all that's put together, it's going to bring more into the Hbar ecosystem. Now, WePay is wanting to grow their ecosystem from there. They got that area covered, and they just want to keep expanding across the globe. Pretty impressive. Great future for WePay and for Hbar. Now, this is really positive as well. MTech posted on Twitter that basically the government, the U.S. Federal Reserve, contacted MTech, which they have a partnership, an ongoing partnership with, where they wanted their input. And MTech said, basically, we're here to work directly and assist the federal government of the United States in a trusted digital currency environment. Now, that's kind of irrelevant, but it got me thinking of MTech has had a partnership for a long time with Hbar. And I wanted to just run some stuff by you because, guys, MTech is an absolute powerhouse. Now, a lot of people think that, the banking reset is going to happen where, like, for instance, you hear everything's going to run on Ripple XRP rails. Well, guys, that's not going to happen. There's going to be thousands of ecosystems, and all these major corporations like MTech and Ripple, IBM, Accenture, JP Morgan, the other banks, they all have these private blockchains and all that stuff. And the reason I tell you that is where your ISO 222 compliant tokens that we call banking tokens that we think of as infrastructure, like XLM, XRP, Link, Quant, Hedera, all those, where they're going to get their share is tying all that in together, like tying the SWIFT ecosystem into another central bank ecosystem, into the stock exchange, etc. And I feel 100% confident that all those tokens are going to do well. And sometime they will be involved in the direct ecosystem or infrastructure of a bank. But for the most part, it's tying all that together for whatever that's worth. Now, when you look at what MTech does, guys, I mean, they work with the U.S. government, and they do modern central bank platforms. They do cross-border payments. They do cross-network solutions. They do peer-to-peer. They do it all, guys. Now, a couple of years ago, one of their first partnerships was with the Project New Dawn. But look at that, guys. That is MTech, Hedera, Microsoft. This was a big deal as well. MTech introduced their green CBDC framework, Well, guys, they had to bring Hbar in for that. I'm telling you, people are sleeping on the fact that Hedera is going to be a big player in CBDC infrastructure. I'm telling you. Now, and this is another reminder. It says MTech to pilot the US CBDC in digital dollar project sandbox program. MTech is one of the main players working with the US government on the digital dollar. But now look at these partners again: IBM, Hedera, Microsoft, MasterCard. MTech, guys, is a powerhouse, and they use Hedera, and they're pushing Hedera's ecosystem. Now, this is a little bit more light, but it's still positive news, and it tells you a lot about Hedera and the Hedera Foundation, in my opinion. This is the Forbes America's Best Startup. Let me move this. For this year. Now, think about that, guys. Out of the thousands of startups in the world, Hedera is number 35 on the Forbes list for best places to work. And that just shows you what kind of people they are and what kind of environment it is to work there. I find that nothing but positive. Now, if that wasn't enough, they just brought on the ex-acting controller of the U.S. currency. His name is Brian Brooks. And the reason this is a big deal is because he's definitely connected with the White House. And they brought him on, I'm sure, for the clarification of creating a regulatory environment to keep them out of trouble. Because from my understanding, he's like the who's who when it comes to regulation, and he is definitely involved in a big way of regulation between the White House and the rest of the world. So he's definitely a positive to have with Hbar. Now, let's take a look at the chart. And quite frankly, guys, I'm a little disappointed because this is the daily chart, and depending on when you start or stop, basically it didn't really go down today. It did a little bit, but overall it's a positive day to slightly down. Like I said, depends on when you want to start the 24-hour clock. But I was hoping you would have seen a massive move down. Now, this is the weekly chart. I wanted to see that continue, but look at this. This is where you had the attack, and yeah, it fell apart a little bit, but look at it. It's trucking back up because that's my guess is people like me that have real world conviction. I've done my homework, guys. Again, not shilling Hbar. Do with this information as you will. This is 100% my opinion. I think they have a phenomenal future. I think they're going to be a leader in Web3 and everything to do with the future of digital assets and blockchain and Web3 and all that. I really do. So if Hbar falls apart down, I wish they would go down to a penny, less than a penny, because I would just stack more and more and more. Now, that being said, right now, I think it's still going to go lower, and I think it's going to go back at least to where it was at the end of last year, which is somewhere around 4 cents, maybe slightly under 4 cents. Right at 4 cents was the low last year. So right now it's at somewhere between 5.5, 6 cents. Well, I think any $1 cost averaging in right here would be really good. But guys, you can start to feel it. If you've been watching my channel at all, I told everyone I did not think that the bull run had started. I gave out many reasons because, guys, the macroeconomic environment is so negative. You can't start a bull run. You got to have your stuff matched. At least for me, I've been in and out of markets for almost 30 years. stuff has to have synergy and sync up. I want to see everything match up before I will get bullish short term and think the bottom's in. I want to see the economy doing well and actually growing. I want to see interest rates at least stabilize. I want to see the Fed pivot. But guys, I think something's going to break. I've thought that for years. I've been saying it since the election. I've said that before the election, something's going to break in the American economy and the global economy, and we're going to have like a 2008. If we're lucky, it's only that bad. I could be wrong, but I truly believe there's no soft landing. That being said, guys, the more you know and the more you study and the more you're prepared, the more you're going to capitalize. So do your homework, and when you see if I'm right and we have a crash, have your cash on the side and know which projects to run in and absolute load the boat. One of mine, again, not financial advice, is definitely Hbar. One of my favorite projects. I think it's got a phenomenal future. I hate that they were attacked, and they did do some damage. We'll see how that plays out. And the only real harm, in my opinion, will be if they don't handle it well. But I have 100% conviction that they're a first-class act, and they will do damage control, and they'll do what's right for the ecosystem and what's right with the Hbar holders. That's my personal opinion. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments section what you think. Is it a big deal? What do you think about the positive news? Because I think it's really positive. You know, Hbar has positive news coming out every single day. They have absolutely everything I want into a project where I can stack my money. Anyway, that's all I got. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Hit that like button and come back and be part of this community. Take care, guys.